Tommy will walk up and tap it in for the win. Tommy Fleetwood is the winner of the 2025 Tour Championship. And with that, he captures the PGA Tour's ultimate prize, the FedEx Cup. At long last, it's the sweet taste of victory on the PGA Tour for Tommy Fleetwood.
Absolutely loved it. Let's get a bit more on this now and cross over to talkSPORT's golf reporter, Sean O'Brien. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Sean.
Morning, guys. How are we doing?
Yeah, well, we're doing great, but not as good as
brilliant.
Tommy, obviously. Look, I mean, the ridiculous thing is, when he's 3 shots clear with 2 holes to go, I think everybody's still biting their nails.
Yeah, it's never stress-free with Fleetwood. I think if you ask most golf fans the 2 things they wanted most this season, it probably would have been Rory finally winning the Masters and Fleetwood finally winning a PGA Tour event. It was such an incredible moment and such a long time coming because Tommy Fleetwood is a generational talent, and the fact that he played 163 PGA Tour events without winning kind of always felt like one of sport's great injustices. And it meant that, as you allude to there, every time he did get into contention, it was just so stressful. And he threw it away on the 18th at the Travelers in June. He did the same thing at the FedEx St. Jude a few weeks ago, and always felt like he had a kind of mental problem. So we know he's got the game to win, but he just seemed to lack that kind of killer instinct to kind of put his foot down and hit the shots when it really matters most. So I think you think of Tiger Woods back in the day or Scotty Scheffler now, and they get better when they're in contention, and Fleetwood always seemed to get worse. But it was nervy again yesterday around the turn. He did make a sweat for it, but it was the right stuff when he needed it, and he finally kind of removed that scar tissue and got one over the line. And he picked an amazing one to win as well, because he actually said before the week began it would be quite funny if he won, because he takes home the FedEx Cup alongside it and the $10 million bonus that comes with it. And usually they kind of changed the Tour Championship this year, because Scheffler would have usually started on 10 under and everyone would have had starting strokes based on their points over the season. But the Tour Championship this year was a level playing field, which felt a little bit unfair on Scheffler because he was so dominant this year. And in football terms, it's kind of like getting to the last 10 minutes of the season and saying next goal wins. But take nothing away from Fleetwood. This was like a huge event, the 30 best players in the world this year. And credit to him for bouncing back after some seriously painful moments this season, because he's one of the good guys in golf as well. And you saw Justin Rose and Shane Lowry waiting for him behind the green. So he's a really likable guy, and everyone's just absolutely thrilled for him.
I take your point there, Sean, regarding the Scheffler situation. However, that's probably a conversation for another day. See the victory, mate. Is it living proof that golf at that level maybe is 80% mental? And the reason I'm saying that, because we know he can play. You know, he had 7 wins already, I think, on the European Tour, and his form had been brilliant. He had 30 top 5 finishes his career, 6 of them this year. Jeff and I were just speaking. He's probably, without winning it, has been in absolutely tremendous form. But just how important is the mental side of it at that level?
I think so important. I think winning's hard. Golfers lose a lot more than they win. And I think the problem with Tommy Fleetwood was that the more he saw himself get into contention and not win, the more that scar tissue just builds and builds. And he actually spoke about it afterwards, and he admitted that he was really uncomfortable. Some people rise to those kind of occasions, but there was just something niggling at him in the back of his mind when he got onto the back 9 and he was leading. I think I always thought Tommy Fleetwood just needed to just run out in front and win one by a serious margin. I would have been nervous for him if he wasn't leading by 3 on that par 5, because essentially the only way he could have lost it on 18 was a double bogey. And it is great because now that he's got this first one over the line, you just think it'll be easier for him next time he's in contention. I know we said that about Rory at the Masters, and it didn't quite pan out that way at the other 3 majors, but you do also see Rory on the golf course now, and he looks so much more relaxed. And the problem with Tommy was his body language as well. He just looked nervous. Putts were kind of staying short of the hole, and he couldn't really get his shoulders moving, whereas he'll kind of walk around with his chest out now, and if he ever gets into contention, he'll know that he can get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, even walking down the 18th, I looked at him and I was wondering what's going through his mind, because You know, there were no Fleetwood smiles, none of the usual sort of little gestures and things. He was very solemn, very grim-faced, and I can only think he's still thinking of what might go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. He didn't look like he truly kind of celebrated until he knocked in the little gimme. And bear in mind, he could have taken about 4 putts there and still won. It just didn't. It never kind of feels like it's done with Fleetwood. But I really hope that will be different next time round. And of course, it's fantastic for Team Europe as well, isn't it? That we've got a player like Fleetwood in such great form ahead of the Ryder Cup, because that's going to roll around quite quickly now. I think. Team Europe's pretty much locked in. We had Rasmus Højgaard taking the last spot of the automatic qualifiers at the British Masters yesterday. So you've got Rory, Bob McIntyre, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Tyrrell Hatton and Rasmus Højgaard locked in as the automatic qualifiers. And it feels like the 6 automatic picks kind of sort themselves out with Shane Lowry, Sepp Straka, John Rahm, Ludvig Åberg, Victor Hovland and Matt Fitzpatrick. And now the big story on Wednesday is will Keegan Bradley pick himself for Team USA? So it's been a brilliant season. Rory winning in April, Tommy winning in August, and hopefully we get ourselves a little Team Europe win in September as well.
Sean, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Sean.
Nice one, guys. Thank you.
The only one of those names that I might disagree with, Coisy, I don't know what you think, is Seb Straka. Terrific player. You know, not got a great record in the real big events. And I look at Harry Hall and how he's been playing during the course of this year. And for me, he would be one of the picks.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. I think the one thing is so important in this particular Ryder Cup coming up, and I mentioned the mental strength. The one thing the boys, and I'm reading the quote there for Justin Rose, and I don't have any doubt that Justin Rose means it when he writes and says, watching Tommy win, he says, was just as good as me winning. They're gonna have to be together, because you know how difficult it's going to be with that crowd, mate. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it very much.
Me too.
Indeed, yeah.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.